First, I'd like to once again thank everyone for coming out in such treacherous weather. It really speaks to the tenacity and the courage of everyone in this crowd and the love and support that you all have given all of us, not only our 4 years today, but also throughout all of our lives. So I first want to thank you for that. As it happens, when I arrived at Harvard, I dreamed of giving back to my community. And I convinced my freshman self that that dream demanded total isolation. I called my father and I informed him that while I knew he valued our daily phone calls, they would now occur just once a week. I tried to find the bass in my voice as I said, "This is how things are going to be, Dad." My mother would have none of it. She left voicemails all the time telling me how much she loved me. My parents found it hard to see their only child leave home, especially after giving so much for me to attend college after they had not. My father, he punched his card for 12-hour shifts in one of Indiana's last steel mills and still found time to impart wisdom on how to be a good man. My mother, discharged from the U.S. Army as a veteran, waging a war on two fronts, against her own depression and joblessness, still made sure to raise me with a kind heart. So 4 years after my one-call rule, I wish I had taken every call. I worry that for all of us, living in the future, postponing the present, is all too common. Because tomorrow is not always what we expect. On Easter Sunday morning of my freshman year, my church pastor telephoned me to say that my mother was sick and that I should hurry home. Moments later, another call came, this time from the emergency room. My mother had died from a heart attack. And I thought about all the calls I hadn't made, and now never would. And in a microsecond, the future that I envisioned for my mother and me had become our past. And as we stand here today, entire callings, careers, and connections are soon to be realized. But at what point does planning for tomorrow become living in tomorrow? I mean, think back across our time together at Harvard. How many of us proposed the perfect policy to end homelessness, and yet not once signed up to staff Harvard's youth homeless shelter? How many of us plan to first make bank at Golden before we get back? But in so doing, we ignore the humble song of Harvard Square. Young man, young lady. And how many of us were so busy talking about Dean Karana's community that we turned into skeletons still waiting to catch a meal? What are we waiting for? It can be hard to live in the moment, especially at Harvard. We worry that changing the world means that the potential of the future outweighs the urgency of the present. But if you've ever doubted that we can find a balance, I can assure you that we can, because we already have. We've witnessed students who've advocated for economic equality and justice in our dining halls. We didn't wait for an AB, an MD, or a PhD. Students who gave legal aid to the least, the lost, and the left out among us. We didn't wait to make partner at the firm. Students who mentored an undergraduate or an underclassman or in underserved areas in Boston. We didn't wait for that six-figure salary. Because we knew then that we only have today. At some point, we all demonstrated that the greater good begins with investing in people. Right now, at this moment, with all deliberate speed. Just as our families did for us. Maybe it was a family who left faraway shores to cross turbulent seas so that we could have a better life. A single parent who worked 2 jobs as the breadwinner and the homemaker so that we could be a role model for somebody else someday. A mother calling just to say that she loved them. What a gift. What a blessing to gather with those who encouraged us, inspired us, and shaped us, and celebrate this day. And many of them join us today. But many more cannot. But in truth, those who are not here today are always present within us, in the sacrifice, the guidance, and the love that they showed us, so that we may do the same unto others. I would give anything to pick up the phone and talk to my mother one more time. And I would tell her that the day was only possible because of all of the todays that she gave me. Class of 2017, let us resolve to plan for a better tomorrow